Good afternoon, welcome to today's topic lesson. Today's geography skill is to identify and describe geographical locations and features. Okay, so today's date is obviously the 1st of February. So if you could write those down, underline them please, and come back when you're ready to start. Okay, so today we're going to imagine that we are living in the International Space Station, which is often abbreviated to ISS. Okay, so what is the International Space Station and what does it do? Have a talk to your partner or perhaps talk to somebody at home about what you think it is and what it does. You should have quite a good idea of this already, because if you think back to our topic lesson from a couple of weeks ago when we ordered the timeline of events, okay, we certainly spoke about it there and watched a brief video clip. Okay, so have a think. Okay, so the International Space Station, or the ISS, is a large spacecraft satellite, which is as big as a house with 5 bedrooms. Now, my house hasn't got 5 bedrooms, okay, but to think of something as big as my house makes me really in awe of what this is, actually. So it orbits around Earth, and it's where astronauts live when they're in space. Okay, obviously, they don't live in a house when they're in space, so they have to live in the space shuttle, the space station. So it's also a science lab, and many countries worked together to build it. Okay, so it wasn't just England or just America, it was lots of different countries, and it was launched in 1998. The space station's orbit is approximately 250 miles above Earth. So if you look closely, you can sometimes see it. So I've seen it before when it's really, it's like a bright shining light. It looks like a star, okay, but it's a bright shining light in the sky, but it travels a lot quicker, okay, well, quite slowly to us, but up there it goes really fast. And NASA uses the station to learn about living and working in space. Now, what does the acronym NASA stand for? I wonder if you know, because it's certainly not what I thought it was. And when I asked my children the same thing, they didn't know. Well, I won't give it away, but I'll tell you what they thought afterwards. Have a think about what NASA actually stands for. See if you know, or if not, see if you can have a guess. Okay, so the acronym actually stands for National Aeronautics and Space Administration. And they are responsible for space exploration, so for exploring space. Now, I'd always thought NASA stood for something similar to National Academy or National Association of Space and Astronauts, or Astronomy, something like that. But I certainly didn't expect it to mean National Aeronautics and Space Administration. So that was a real learning curve for us all at home. Okay, let's have a look at how the International Space Station goes through the space, through the sky. So let's have a look. So you can see the arms of the ISS here. So this is a time lapse, okay? So just showing the different things that they can see from the space station looking down on Earth. Notice all the lights, you can see clouds. Okay, sometimes you can see the sea. Okay, so to us, this looks like clouds, perhaps snow, land, lights. I wonder what the astronauts feel about this. Okay, so that green thing you can see is like an aurora, and it's often known as like the Northern Lights. Okay, I'm not actually sure you heard what I was saying there, because I'm aware that the music was on the video, so I'm not sure if you could hear me. But I was just saying that there was lots of different things that we could see. Okay, so there was lots of white, which was possibly clouds or snow. There were lights. Okay, there was sea, lots of different things. But to us, it kind of all looks the same. Now, let's find out more about what the astronauts think. Okay, so let's have a look inside the space station. Get some fun facts here too.
This is the cupola. It sticks down below the space station. It's one of those places you find yourself hanging out in all the time because all you want to do is look back at our planet. I play this game with myself about where we're flying over the Earth. I try to come in here and just guess. After being here for a little while, you can sort of figure it out. You can tell different cloud types.
Okay, sorry, I'm just going to start it again and turn it up for you. I think it's a bit too quiet.
This is the cupola. It sticks down below the space station. It's one of those places you find yourself hanging out in all the time because all you want to do is look back at our planet. I play this game with myself about where we're flying over the Earth. I try to come in here and just guess. After being here for a little while, you can sort of figure it out. You can tell different cloud types over different continents. You can tell different soil types over different continents. So right now we are right over Africa. It's a little bit cloudy, as you can tell, but we're right over the continent of Africa. Here we are at the throne. Number 2, right here. I'll show you. But you see it's pretty small, so you have to have pretty good aim. And this guy right here is for number 1. So there's sort of 2 slightly separate functions, but you can do a little, essentially both, by hanging on right here and doing number 1 and number 2. This is what we call the A-red. And with this, you can lift weights based on vacuum in these cylinders, just like you do at home at a gym. One of the cool things you could do things that you can't do at home. For example, single leg squats with just one leg, because the other leg, you won't fall over. This is the bike. You notice the clip pedals. So all you need to do is actually clip your feet in, and then you can start pedaling. You don't need a seat. You probably see that the bike bounces around a little bit. As I move it, it's not steady and held to the wall firmly. And the reason for that is the space station is pretty big. You saw that there's also solar arrays on the space station. If we start putting any forces into the space station, it's going to make those solar arrays bounce around a little bit. The water is pretty neat up in space. It'll stick to your toothbrush, and it will make a big bubble. And that's just by surface tension. And then you can drink it. The spacesuit is pretty big, as you can see. It's like being a football player. Part of the reason it's so big and bulky is because of this backside, this backpack. It's like going on a hike with a backpack, but the backpack and the suit weighs about 300 pounds. Luckily in space, nothing really weighs anything, so you don't feel that it's so heavy. It has all the oxygen for you. It has all the carbon dioxide removal system for you. It also has a heating and cooling system to make sure to regulate our body temperatures while we're outside. This is our kitchen. You might notice there's all sorts of foods here, drinks, meats, eggs, vegetables, cereals. Some of it is dehydrated, and so we have to hydrate it, fill it up with water. Some of it is already made. So something like this, I'm pulling out barbecued beef brisket. Pretty yummy. And some of the things we have to worry about in space are fire. If we had a fire, if we had a depressurization, like we were hit by a micrometeorite and it made a hole, or if we had some type of toxic atmosphere. If we had any of those problems, we come right here, which we call the central post. It is the main heart of the space station. It has controls to fly in visiting spacecraft if they need some assistance right here. It has Russian computers as well as American computers to help us control anything we need to on the space station. All right, so here we are in the Soyuz. This is what we call the VETO, the living compartment, Bitovoy Otsek in Russian. It has drinking water in it if we need something to drink. And then, of course, it's filled up with a lot of cargo for us. But the main area where we were on launch and where we're going to be on descent is down here. It's a little bit squishy, but everybody asks, how do you sit in the Soyuz? And you sort of sit in your seat like this. The seat is molded to your body. There's hand controllers which you can fly the vehicle with. And there's a stick right here, primarily used for communications when we're trying to talk to the ground. So 3 of us fit in here. Like I said, it's a little squishy, but somehow it seems like we all managed to get in here and fit pretty well. And it's a pretty safe ride home.
Okay, talk to somebody around you. If you're at home, go and tell somebody what you've just learned. So I thought that video was really interesting. I particularly liked the water. I would love to have a go at drinking water from a bubble. It looks amazing. If only we could try that experiment here, but would get very wet. But it really is quite fascinating of the things inside the International Space Station and what they can do. It's quite amazing. Okay, so in the video we saw the cupola, which allowed the astronauts to view the Earth. So that was at the beginning of the video, when the astronaut went to the big viewing window, and she was telling us there that after being in the ISS for a while, astronauts can identify where they are just by looking at the cloud formations and soil types. Now, to me, that sounds insane. I would look out that window and think, oh, more clouds, oh, more soil. I would never be able to guess. But then I'm not an astronaut, okay? And she did say it's after being in there for a while. So I suppose it's just what you get used to and what you learn. Okay, let's have a closer look at some of the images we've captured whilst on board the ISS. Obviously not us, this is Tim. Okay, so can you identify which geographical features are shown below? Okay, so you might want to have a discussion with the person next to you or somebody at home. See if you can identify what these features are showing. Okay, so pause the video, have a good discussion, and then come back when you're ready and we'll go through them. Okay, so how did your discussions go? So let's have a look at this one. Okay, so this one here has got a real rocky terrain, okay? It's actually a mountain range in Switzerland. It's the Swiss Alps. Now, I played this game with my children and one of them thought it was the moon because it was rough and rocky. And then I explained properly that we were looking at pictures down from Earth. Okay, but if you notice the rocky, uneven terrain and the steep peaks, so these are all mountains, okay, and the shadows kind of show you where the peaks are. It's really difficult to identify that they're mountains, but this is what you can see from the International Space Station. Okay, how about this one? This one was a little bit easier. Looks a little bit like EastEnders. Okay, but this one's actually the Amazon River in South America. It's the second longest river in the world. I wonder if you know which one is the longest. if you do, or if you don't, should I say, the longest river in the world is the River Nile. Okay, and the greenery around this here shows the land which surrounds the river. What do you think is surrounding the Amazon River? Okay, so it's actually the Amazon rainforest, which you can see, which is surrounding. But again, if I was up in space and I looked down, I'd think, oh yeah, it's a river. I would never have a clue whereabouts it was. Although, because it is the second longest, I could perhaps guess. Okay, this one. I think this one could be an easier one, perhaps. Okay, if you got it, it's a Hurricane Patricia. This hit Mexico with 200-mile-per-hour winds. Okay, so it's one of the strongest hurricanes, actually. Can you spot the eye of the hurricane? So the eye of the hurricane is the centre of the hurricane. It's where it starts, and actually it's usually where the calmest part is. Okay, if you can, it's just here. This is called the eye of the hurricane. Quite often you might hear the saying eye of the storm. Okay, how about this one? The colour might give this one away. This one is the Sahara Desert, which is the largest hot desert in the world. Okay, it's on the continent of Africa, and it actually takes up about 80% of Algeria's land. Okay, so it's a very large hot desert. You can see the sand dunes here. So like the picture of the Swiss Alps, you've got these peaks here which shows the sand dunes or the sand seas in the desert. Okay, do you know what these bits are? What these parts here? Okay, they're actually salt pans where they've had perhaps, they don't get much rain, but they could have had rain, or it might have been a lake, and where the sun, okay, evaporates the water, the heat, it actually leaves salt behind. So it's really interesting. So they're called salt pans. Okay, these ones here are clouds. Okay, it's just these ones here. It's very interesting. And then lastly, this one. What do you think this one is? Okay, this one is actually Mount Cleveland, or the Cleveland volcano in Alaska. And this is a picture of it erupting in May 2009. I love this photo. You can see the snow on top of the volcano and the plumes of smoke. I think it's great. Okay, so your job today is you've got a selection of images along with some descriptions. Okay, so you've got 12 images, 12 descriptions. It's only showing you 6 there, but you've actually got 12. First of all, I'd like you to see if you can cut them out, okay, and match them. They're not in order. Okay, you have to read the descriptions really carefully, okay, because they're not all, you can't all understand them immediately to which they're, what the descriptions are to which picture. I would certainly look for the ones that you could probably tell more. So perhaps the ones with more colours in you might want to match first. They might be the easiest ones to do. Okay, so see if you can match. If you're in the bubble, you might want to do it all together. You might want to do it in partners. You might want to do it independently. Okay, because it can be done independently. And then if you're at home, have a go at seeing if you can match them. Okay, once you've done that, I would like you to stick the images into your book. Now, not all of them, okay? I'd probably aim for 3. If you want to do more, you can. Okay, but 3 is a good number. And write a description for each. So you can use the examples to help you, okay? But I don't want you to just copy the examples. I want you to write it in your own words so you understand it more easily. So try to include a variety of geographical features in the ones you choose. So Don't choose 3 with an ocean or 3 rivers. Okay, try to choose a variety of different features. Think of yourself as an astronaut. So if you was an astronaut in the International Space Station and you were describing these images to somebody at home, how would you describe it? Because you can't just say, I can see clouds. That could be anywhere, okay? So let's have a look at this one that I've done for you. So I've written the location and what it is at the top. So it's Mount Cleveland and it's in Alaska in the United States. So this is what I have sent home to my family. I'm an astronaut in space, okay? Or this is what I've shown them when I've got back home. So this is an image of an active volcano. Clouds surround one side of the snow-capped volcano, which is striped with dark ash. So here you can see the snow, and the dark sections here is ash. The thick plume of smoke rising from the summit, okay, which is where the volcano erupts, suggests that this photo was captured immediately after eruption. So I haven't just said this is a volcano, it's just erupted. Okay, I've really described it. Okay, because not all volcanoes look the same. Not all of them have snow on. Okay, so really try your best. Okay, so have a go at doing that. Pause the video and then come back for some fun facts when you're ready. Okay, final thought then, and some fun facts about the ISS. So number 1, it flies around the world every 90 minutes and it travels at 5 miles per second. Now you're probably thinking, 5 miles, is that it? 5 miles per second? It's very, very fast. I mean, to go around the world every 90 minutes, it's crazy. In the space of 24 hours, it can make 16 orbits of Earth, travelling through 16 sunrises and sunsets. And now the length of it is about the same as a football pitch. So all those football fans out there, just think about a football pitch. That is how long it is. So when I said before about it being the same size as a house of 5 bedrooms, a football pitch is massive. And after the moon, the ISS is the second brightest object in our night sky. So like I said before, you can actually see it, you can actually look out, okay, when it's passing over us. You don't even need a telescope, you can just see it with your eye. You can't obviously make it out, but you can just see this moving light across the sky. It's well worth having a look. And there are 2 bathrooms on board. There's also 1 gym, which you could see where they use the weights, okay, and 6 sleeping quarters. When I say bathrooms, I wouldn't really call them a bathroom, but still. Astronauts have to work out for 2 hours a day while on board to help keep their muscles in shape while in space. Because they're floating around all the time, their own body weight, so us, we walk every day and we take our own body weight. But because they're in space, okay, and there's no gravity, they're always floating. So if they were to come back and start to walk, they wouldn't be able to. Their legs wouldn't work, okay? So they need to keep their muscles working whilst they're in space. And finally, it weighs about 420,000 kilograms, which is the same as about 320 cars. It's amazing to think that something of that weight can be in the sky. Mind-blowing. Okay, that's it for me. I just want to tell you something actually whilst we're on this, thinking about the things that we could see from space. Now, there's a myth which has been going around for as long as I can remember, as long as most people can remember. So the features that we saw, the pictures, were natural geographical features. Okay, so you had rivers and seas and mountains. Now, man-made features, such as walls and things like that, there's the Great Wall of China, which apparently, I've always been told that it's the only man-made feature that can be seen from space. However, after a little bit of research, that's not actually true. It can't be seen from space because it's too narrow, okay? So if anybody ever tells you that the Great Wall of China can be seen from space, it can't. It's too narrow. The wall is too thin to stand out. Okay, so I just thought I'd tell you that, just in case anybody ever tells you, and now you can go away and tell somebody else that fact. So I hope you've enjoyed today's topic lesson. Have a lovely evening, and I shall see you tomorrow morning for maths. And I'm in the bubble tomorrow as well, so I'll see you in school. Take care. Bye.